anybody needs to stop me. Oh, okay. We're going to be live streamed. I will mention that to you. We're now on a public meeting and we're open, having introduced everyone. I hope you're continuing to stay safe and well. As you know, the pandemic requires numerous changes for the 2022 session. For the most part, by the way, these are the rules from last session, and I'm hoping that we all remember most of them, but I think they're posted on the website. Jen, is that accurate? Jen, do you hear me?
Sorry, I'm muted. Yes, they're posted on the website.
Okay, if anybody needs to refer to them. For the protection of lawmakers and staff, the HGO committee office and hearing room will be closed again during the session. Regrettably, this means that only those with a designated workspace, such as a policy analyst and HGO staff, will be allowed in the committee office. No one will be allowed to use the committee room. Please don't ask to hold meetings with advocates or any other meetings in the committee room or office. No one will be allowed to use the HGO kitchen, including the microwave and refrigerator. Kitchen will be closed to delegates and staff during the session. No food will be available in HGO this session, and no sunny day fund will exist, so I won't be asking you to contribute. All committee meetings, including subcommittee meetings and voting sessions, will be conducted online via Zoom. Boy, I don't want to wear these. Can you still hear me? I think I have to put them in here before they stop working. Good.
We can hear you.
Okay. To contact HGO staff, please use the email below, because they may or may not be in the office every day. Well, they won't be in every day, and we'll have limited hours when in the office. The best way to reach the staff is email, and you can see their addresses. And I really do, from the bottom of my heart, not in my script, appreciate everyone's cooperation this year as we had last year. You guys are a great group of people, and I know everything is going to work out, and we'll do the very best we can to get through all the work that we have. Please fill out your HGO member contact information sheet completely and return it via email to Richard by the end of the day, Tuesday, January 18th. It helps us to be able to send you out notices when something changes suddenly. We need to be able to reach you, particularly, I think, Richard, you do a lot by text. Is that correct?
A majority of my job is through email, but if you guys would like me to remind you guys via text, I can do that.
Well, I think when things change, when there's something that's time critical, like a subcommittee, well, it can't move room, can it? Because we don't move rooms anymore since we're not in a room. Right. This is what we used text for in the past, was things that were time critical. So if necessary, we do need your cell phone as well. I think there's a place to say, please don't give it out. Is that accurate, Jen? And if you don't want it given out to outsiders, including other members of the committee, check that box or whatever so that we don't share it. You have a perfect right to not want to share your private email. I mean, your private phone number. That's up to you. Full committees will begin promptly at 1:30. We picked that time because that's what was set up last year. I think that worked very well. And we will, by the way, have breaks as needed. I try to give people a break. I don't want to glue you to your chairs for 4 hours without moving. I think that's really unhealthy. I'll do the best that I can. I'm probably the person who wants to get up the most. So we'll be taking some breaks. You will notice I'm off script. I'm sure you can tell. You'll notice that when we have our hearings, the subcommittee chairs will chair those hearings again this year. I thought that worked incredibly well. I'm so grateful for their efforts to do that and doing it so well, because it allows, first of all, them to have that expertise, but it also allows me to spend some of that time reading through more of the testimony, making sure I'm listening carefully so that I feel prepared for all the bills. And I know you do the same. It's going to be a problem if my friends here send me funny texts during these meetings. It's okay right now, but when we get to the briefing this afternoon, I would appreciate it if you wouldn't send me anything too funny, which will cause me to be embarrassed because it's clear that I'm in another conversation. Thank you, dear member who did that for me. Full at 1:30, please log into Zoom 5 to 10 minutes before the scheduled start time. We do start on time for the new people. We really try hard to start on time. Bill hearings are currently scheduled on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday at 1:30 on days where there are both a briefing and a hearing on the same day. Please check the website for accurate times. Generally, what we'll be doing is putting the briefing at 1 o'clock. We'll start a little earlier as we are today, and we will probably put a gap, a break of some sort between the briefing and the hearing, because that's a good, obvious time to take a break. I keep seeing the trooper's face and I keep getting so tired of reading. Mr. Trooper, would you tell us a little more about yourself? Because we're happy to have you keeping us safe this year.
Oh, yes, of course. My name is Zachary Lynch. I'm assigned to Frederick, and this is my first year doing legislative, so I'm just excited about the opportunity.
Well, you're going to learn more than you ever wanted to know about things that you really never wanted to know anything about at all. But there are many, many interesting things actually in our committee that help us help people, but they also help us figure out how to navigate through the systems of life, in particular the healthcare systems. Whoever knew things were as complicated as they are, and so basic and necessary to all of us. You'll find that the things we do are really, really relevant in people's daily lives, which is one of the great things about HGO subjects. So welcome.
Thank you.
Please make sure your computer is muted on Zoom, except when the chairman calls on you. You're required to have your video on and remain present when you're in the Zoom meeting. As you know, that's not my rule, but we need to be able to see people. And if you're not, I don't know that you have to sign out. I think we found the signing out and signing in too difficult. Is that correct, Jen? Yeah, so just try to stay in your seat when we're on air, please. It's important for you and it's important for the citizens of Maryland to see what we do. Hearing times for accurate day, Zoom video on. Please don't use the chat room. Anything written in the chat room will be available only to the public, so you won't be sharing it with the rest of the members. Oh. Written in the chat room will be available to the public. I thought it was available only to the person running the meeting. Oh, well, it's available to the public. So do what you want, but know that any message you put there, and really, I think it's probably better that we're not having conversations while we're having hearings. And I will, by the way, recognize you to call on you as I see your hands in the reactions column or whatever it's called. That's what I use as my guide, my compass. Okay, to be recognized by the chair, click on reactions and then click on raised hand. As always, the chair will attempt to recognize the member in the order in which hands are raised. The HGO schedule is posted on the website under our committee tab. Every on-time bill we receive will receive a hearing. I do have discretion over the length of the hearing and the proposed number of people who will testify, and we will be efficient as we were last year. I think that worked reasonably well as we could hope in a pandemic. Please don't encourage an overly large number of people to sign up to testify orally on a bill, because we will then just have to tell them that we are only hearing from a smaller number. So I'd appreciate that, and so would the staff. Members of the public can sign up to testify in support, with amendment, opposed, or to provide information on any bill. I'm going to let you read that yourselves. Under normal circumstances, a sponsor will have 5 minutes to present his/her bill, Every other witness will have 2 minutes to testify. Because we're unable to have sponsor panels, sponsors, please send me a list. And this is really important. Please send me a list with a maximum of 5 witnesses who you prefer the committee to hear, and send it to Richard or my office, which Jen intercepts. If I don't receive that list, I'll do the best I can to choose among those who signed up in support. I will, but I'm not as good as you are, who are the experts on your bills. I welcome similar assistance with the opponents of bill, but this is less easy to spell out. So if people have strong opinions, please let us know. It's my goal that each side of every bill have the very best presenters possible. Whether or not a witness is selected to speak, please know that written testimony has the same weight as oral testimony, and members do read your written testimony. Written testimony is automatically included in the office bill file. We encourage interested parties to follow the hearing on YouTube. Questions. Members will have the opportunity to question witnesses and will direct their question to one specific witness, as we always have. Please try to only ask your best question. If you have more than one question, please schedule a time to speak with witnesses outside of the committee hearing. There will be flexibility on bills which address subjects on which the committee has little prior knowledge. Let me say something at this point about that. This is a good moment to say it because we're having a briefing today, and this is going to be a remarkably unwieldy briefing because, as you may know, we're going to have Senate EHE committee with us, and we're going to have the subcommittee from appropriations, the health subcommittee with us. So I'm going to be trying my very best, first of all, asking you to try your very best, that unless you have a question that really needs to be answered, please don't. If you have a question and no one else has answered it, then by all means, it needs to be asked. I'm also going to try very hard today, especially because of so many participants on the legislature side, to limit the questions to one, although often we have allowed a follow-up. I'm going to reinforce the idea that your question should be short, not a speech. Speeches are not what we need. This is a time for our witnesses to speak, not for us to give speeches. There are other venues for that. Today in particular, I'm likely to give priority and more time to my subcommittee chairs, which I think you'll recall I did last year, to ask questions that they're experts in. I'll use the example of Delegate Kelly today because she's such an expert in health occupations. For instance, we're going to need to understand how the licensing is going and what kinds of occupations, health occupations, are suffering from not being able to get their license, hence contributing to the problem that we have in caregivers during this pandemic. So please don't think that I think less of anyone, but please know that I want the people who are most responsible to me for knowing what they need to know on these issues. I will give them some extra time to ask their follow-up question or questions. And again, to my subcommittee chairs, do your best to be brief, and you can always take it offline or get a follow-up briefing in your subcommittee if you want to. Okay, I'll go back to the script again, which I'm sure will be a relief to all of you. Try to ask your best question. If you have more than one question, please schedule a time. I did that. As always, legislators do not testify. I did that. Oh, no, I didn't. We don't testify on other legislators' bills. That means we don't sit at the table with them and testify either for or against their bills. It's just really not appropriate. I don't think we've ever had that problem in our committee, but I've been warned about that, so I will warn you again. Will be live streamed on YouTube. If the hearings run long, I'll schedule breaks. You do not need to sign out or in during the scheduled break. An intermission break PowerPoint slide will appear on the live stream and the hearing will run continuously. There's stuff about signing up to testify. I think that you can point your witnesses to this. If you need to send it out, you can cut and paste if you need some information. Oh, it's on the website, so you can just send them there to read it. Witnesses must sign up through the Maryland General Assembly website 2 business days before the hearing from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. For example, witnesses can sign up on Friday for Tuesday hearings, Monday
Jane,
for Wednesday. Yeah,
Chairman,
yeah.
it's 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. And I'm sorry for that mistake. I didn't catch it.
Okay, well, it'll be 8. We've broadened the hours this year. Okay, that's good. I'm glad. I think you all understand that because we have to put an agenda together and because we have to know who the witnesses are and put all that together, we need the information of who's testifying in advance. And also that puts their testimony online so that other people have access to it. So it's awkward and cumbersome and unfortunate, and the reality of the best way we can do it in terms of serving the public. So if you need to explain that, I hope that helps you. And we don't let people sign up late. We just don't, we can't, because once we've set the sign up, the witness list, we really can't change it. So know that going into this. And I do appreciate your support in trying to live by these rules. I know that you'll be there to do that with the people who call you. Specific bill order we posted on the Maryland General Assembly website the day before the hearing. If a bill is scheduled for a Monday, the hearing order will be posted on Friday. HGO will no longer provide packets of testimony for briefings or bill hearings, and no exceptions will be made. These materials will now be located on your laptop. If you prefer to continue using hard copy materials, you and your staff will have the ability to print and organize those materials in your offices. Initially, subcommittee hearing start time is at the discretion of the subcommittee chair. All meetings will be virtual. All meetings will be available to the public via YouTube, and each subcommittee will have a dedicated Zoom link. Let me say that the subcommittee chairs will have an assigned day. It could change, but we try to keep to an orderly schedule, as you all know. And you may have noticed or may not. Was this handed out today, the schedule of subcommittees, Jen? Okay, so you'll notice that there is a subcommittee meeting on Mondays. I'm not sure what time, but because of changes to who's on which subcommittee, we had conflicts. So instead of having 2 subcommittees meeting at the same time, we can no longer do that, and we have to schedule them for 4 different times. It used to be that the room that they were heard in might be the problem, but that's not a problem this year. It's all about the people and the staff to make sure that everybody is able to go to the meetings they're assigned to. We're grateful that individual subcommittee chair staff will host these Zoom meetings. Really grateful. We couldn't do it without them. Please share that with your staff. If chairs need stakeholder participation in the subcommittee meeting, a Zoom link will be provided to those identified. The subcommittee meeting will be available to the general public on YouTube, which can be reached via the website. Monday, oh, there it is. There's public health on Monday now, insurance on Tuesday, Wednesday, government ops, Thursday, health ops and long-term care. And staff will do their best to update you about time changes to our subcommittee and full committee meetings via text and emails to your offices. As our workload increases, we may have to schedule additional meetings, as that comes as no surprise to any of you, I'm sure. If you would like to sponsor a bill this session, you feel if you don't have a bill or you feel like you don't have a reasonable number, which to me is certainly not more than 10, by the way, just FYI. Contact Jen and she'll put your name on a list. Sometimes we have people who ask us for bill sponsors, and I prefer to give them to people who are carrying less bills and who want to have them. I prefer not to have a lot of bills, so I try very hard to assign them to someone who wants it. I'm not going to take you through how a witness signs up. So I think we're done with my part of this. Now it's your part of this. I'm ready for you to ask questions. Or just say, glad to be back. I'm glad to see you all, I have to tell you. Nobody has questions? Aha, oh, I need to open my, I'm sorry, I need to open my, let's see, let's try participants. Yes, there we go. Thank you for giving me a little practice on this. Apparently I'm quite rusty. We'll start with Delegate Hill.
Happy 2022.
Thank you.
Jen says the sign up is 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. I wanted to know if that's specific for this committee or it's for all the House committees.
Jen, you're muted, honey.
It's all the House committees.
Thank you.
We had to make sure that we were all consistent with this. This was,
So the rules about testimony are consistent for all the committees, all those rules? Is that accurate?
no, only the time for signups,
Okay,
which is 8 a.m. to 3 p.m.
but the submitting testimony and all that stuff.
Yeah,
Right, the chairmen have made their own rules about how the hearings will be conducted. But the stuff that is sort of general protocol, I guess is the best way to put it. Things that some other department has to deal with, which is the IT stuff. We needed to make sure that it works for them. Okay, I see Delegate Lewis Young, followed by Delegate Landis.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and I'm happy to be back, and I have a question. We all know that when you have a complex bill that's controversial, the best way to achieve compromise is to get people in a room and work it out. I had been told earlier this week by a member of leadership that that is permitted and encouraged. However, if we can't meet in the committee room, and I understand that district rooms are off limits this year because of occupancy from other areas of the organization, and our offices are crowded, other than meeting on a screen, are there any alternatives where we can get a group of stakeholders together to work out a bill?
It's a good question. I don't have an answer for it. Jen, do we have any particular guidance beyond the rule that we have?
other than that they cannot use any part of the HGO committee room. I have a feeling you just kind of have to do it by Zoom. Because I'm not as involved with the subcommittees, I don't know how you did it last year, but I was under the impression all those meetings where you worked out the problems were done by Zoom. So I would assume it's going to probably be Zoom, Delegate Lewis Young.
I think that's what we need to do for now. You know, the Omicron variant is a big factor right now in my personal thinking. I don't know that I have flexibility on this at all officially. And I don't think that I want to have flexibility right at this moment. When numbers start coming down, we might rethink it. I'll say that to you. But the other problem is that if multiple people need the room, it becomes very hard. And I don't quite know how we can deal with that. As you all know by now, I presume, Legislative Services has moved into all of our delegation rooms and extra rooms in every inch of our building. And I believe the building is in general open to the public, so public can come in to meet with you if you invite them in. Is that correct, Jen? That was the last I heard. The building is open to the public.
Yes.
But the committee rooms and the committee offices are not.
At least HGO is not.
Oh, is it just HGO?
I don't have any real data on all the other committees.
Okay. We will check into that and make sure what the rules are. I will tell you that while Omicron is surging and the hospitals are exploding, I'm not going to make an exception. But I assume that this will be subsiding and we'll see the usual up and down sort of curve of cases and hospitalizations. And we can reconsider this if it's a committee decision as things calm down. So feel free to text me, email me, call me, remind me of this if things get better, when things get better. Okay?
Thank you very much.
You're welcome, because you're absolutely right. Having people in a room is invaluable, and we're all struggling with this Zoom stuff. It really is hard. I will say, I don't think I want a subcommittee with a bunch of witnesses in a room at the same time. That's not a possibility. But I will really rethink it and talk to my subcommittee chairs and my staff about safety issues, because my first job is to keep everybody safe, not cause you to do things that put you in harm's way. And secondarily, I believe we have to set an example for the body and for the state by doing what we think is right, because we are, after all, the health committee. So, but thank you. That's a really good question. Okay, Delegate Landis.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate this orientation, being a new legislator and this being my first session. And I also appreciate the presentation of materials, very thoughtful, very thorough. And I just want to also acknowledge the fact that many of you have reached out to me since I've been assigned to this committee. And I want you to know that I appreciate your thoughtfulness and your consideration. And the fact that also I do look forward to being assigned to some legislation if someone's looking for co-sponsors. I do not intend to be introducing a lot of legislation because I'm still learning the process. So I just wanted to say thank you to all of you and to let you know that I am looking forward to becoming partners with all of you as we do the work for the state of Maryland. So thank you.
You're very welcome. On behalf of the committee, we welcome you. You'll be a great addition to the committee, and you are very lucky to have landed with this group of nice people.
I agree. Thank you.
Welcome. Delegate Krebs, I see your hand up.
Our new delegate just reminded me of something we might want to tell our new members about co-sponsors and how we do it in HGO. With allowing, I guess if you don't know a bill, we basically say don't co-sponsor it until you hear it. But at the end, if we pass a piece of legislation, we allow the committee, I don't know if we're doing that this year, but in the past, we've allowed the committee members to what we call pile on at the end and co-sponsor the legislation. So it shows up after we've worked on it. And that sort of keeps us from signing on to things that we really don't know about. But once we understand it, then we all get credit. We all take the accolades for working on it together. And that's always been something, I'm not sure if we're doing it this year, but that's what we've always done in the past. And it's been very helpful to all of us when we work on a piece of legislation that we're allowed to all pile on at the end and co-sponsor it.
Does staff know what the rule is about that from leadership this year? Because I don't. We really like doing that. I agree with you, Delegate Krebs. It often highlights how collaboratively this committee works, and that's important to me. And also to give credit to all the people who have participated in the final work product. Let's double check. I wonder if the LAs know anything about this, because I think it's the LAs who have the hardest job when we add on extra sponsors. Erin, have you heard anything about that this year?
I have not, but we can find out.
Would you please, and we will let you all know the answer to that question. And if I'm asked in a room of leadership and it's not too hard, and if my LAs tell me it's not too hard, I'll ask them privately later. I agree that it's a good thing. But I don't know what the physical limitations of this are going to be this year. Would certainly make it easier if we could sign on at the end so that everybody doesn't, I think we're doing signatures this year, aren't we, allowing members to collect signatures? That seems to me to be the much more worrisome process than trying to add people on in one fell swoop in one amendment. But we'll see what the answer is. Thank you for bringing that up. I see no other hands. No other questions? Okay. Well, this is the start of, I hope, a good new year for all of us. I'm very pleased to see you all back on the committee. We lost two people. One, as you know, Delegate Barron, who went on to a wonderful new position that was probably his life goal, and we're happy for him. Yeah. And Delegate Charles, I think, and I can say that I know he didn't ask to leave the committee, but I think that he was doing what leadership needed him to do, and we've got to give him credit for that. And we hope he's happy in his new committee. And for the two people who got to fill those empty spots, we're very happy to have you. And with that, I will see you all at 1:30, and we'll do the best we can to get through our first official, what? Oh, 1 o'clock. 1 o'clock. Yes. Thank you, everybody, for putting your fingers up like that. That was good. That's what I need. I need the team. That's what makes it work. Okay. I'll see you at 1 o'clock today. Okay.
Thank you.
Bye, everybody.